Alright, so I'm going to be reading The Queen of Sheba Visits Solomon. Now, when the Queen of Sheba heard of the fame of Solomon, she came to Jerusalem to test Solomon with hard questions. Having a very great retinue, camels that bore spices, gold in abundance, and precious stones, and whom she came to Solomon. She spoke with him about all that is in her heart. So Solomon answered all her questions. There was nothing too difficult for Solomon that he could not explain it to her. So he was very intelligent, okay? And when the Queen of Sheba had seen the wisdom of Solomon, the house that he had built, the food on his table, the seating of his servants, the service of his waiters and their apparel, his cupbearers and their apparel, his entryway by which he went up to the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. She was just like, whoa, okay? She was just amazed at all this, okay? Then she said to the king, "It was a true report which I heard in my own land about your words and your wisdom. However, I did not believe their words until I came and saw with my own eyes, and indeed the half of the greatness of your wisdom was not told me. You exceed the fame of which I heard." So she's just totally amazed by him. I mean, she's just like, this guy is awesome possum, you know. And the Queen of Sheba, I mean, she had a lot too. She wasn't something to sneeze at, okay? So when she saw all this, she's like, whoa, okay. Let's see here. Happy are your men, and happy are these your servants who stand continuously before you and hear your wisdom. You know, from the servants to the highest ranking officials, they were happy. They get to hear his wisdom. They get to experience this. Blessed be the Lord your God, who delighted in you, setting you on his throne to be king for the Lord your God, because your God has loved Israel to establish them forever. Therefore, he made you king over them to do justice and righteousness. He made you king over them to do justice and righteousness. You know, how amazing. What an amazing time to be in at this point, okay? And she says, the king 120, and she gave the king 120 talents of gold, spices in great abundance, and precious stones. There never were any spices, much as those the Queen of Sheba gave to King Solomon. So, I mean, like I said, she was nothing to sneeze at, okay? She had a lot of stuff herself, okay? Also, the servants of Hiram and the servants of Solomon, who brought gold from Ophir, brought algum wood and precious stones. And the king made walkways of the algum wood for the house of the Lord and for the king's house, also harps and stringed instruments for the singers, and there were none such as these seen before the land of Judah. Now King Solomon gave to the Queen of Sheba all she desired, whatever she asked, much more than she had brought to the king. So she turned and went to her own country, she and her servants. So, you know, they had an alliance, they had their friendship, you know, he gave her gifts, she gave him gifts, you know, we're sitting in a good spot right here, okay? The weight of gold that came to Solomon yearly was 660 talents of gold. I don't know what a talent is, but I am guessing this is a lot, okay? Besides what the traveling merchants and traders brought, and all the kings of Arabia and governors of the country brought gold and silver to Solomon. And King Solomon made 200 large shields of hammered gold. 600 shekels of hammered gold went into each shield. So that's a lot. I mean, this is very extravagant. He also made 300 shields of hammered gold. 300 shekels of gold went to each shield. the king put them in the house of the forest of Lebanon. Moreover, the king made a great throne of ivory and prepared it with pure gold, overlaid it with pure gold. The throne had 6 steps, with a footstool of gold, which were fastened to the throne. There were armrests on either side of the place of the seat, and 2 lions stood beside the armrest. So you're sitting in this seat. You got the 2 lions next to you. You know, my grandma on my mom's side, she had this cool statue of an owl. She loved birds, and owls were her favorite. She had a statue of an owl in her living room. It was, at the time about as tall as me. And it was the coolest thing. I thought, man, that's awesome. Can you imagine seeing a throne like that? Let's see here. Here we go. 12 lions stood there, one on each side of the 6 steps. Nothing like this had been made for any other kingdom. So, nothing was ever made like this. Okay, this was to the most grand extent. Okay. All the King Solomon's drinking vessels were gold. All the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were pure gold. Not one was silver, for this was accounted as nothing in the days of Solomon. So silver was like, meh. For the king's ships went to Tarshish with the servants of Hiram. Once every 3 years, the merchant ships came, bringing gold, silver, ivory, apes, and monkeys. He had baboons. What they would do, I researched this, they would take the fangs out. So that way, their 3-inch fangs that they have. That way, when they bite you, not if they bite you, when they bite you, you're not having 3-inch fangs going in. I think I'd be staying away from the baboons. I'd be like, King Solomon, you can mess with the baboons. I'll be way over here, far away, so I don't have to see any blood. So King Solomon surpassed all the kings of the earth in riches and wisdom. And all the kings of the earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. God put that, He's the one that puts wisdom in your heart. I never thought this could happen because the first time I read the Bible, that's when I started following Jesus, because I could relate to everything, and I was like, that's not just a coincidence, this is a God incidence. And there's people, though, that read God's word and they get nothing from it. And it really throws me off. I'm like, how can you not? But God is the one that puts that in your heart where you read it and you go, I get it. I get it. Okay. Each man brought his present, articles of silver and gold, garments, armor, spices, horses. Hanukkah would love that. She'd be like, I'll take care of the horses. And mules at a set rate year by year. Solomon had 4,000 stalls for horses and chariots, 12,000 horsemen whom he stationed in the chariot cities and with the king at Jerusalem. So he reigned over all the kings from the river to the land of the Philistines as far as the border of Egypt. The king made silver as common in Jerusalem as stones, and he made cedar trees as abundant as the sycamores which are in the lowland. And they brought horses to Solomon from Egypt and from all lands. So he was a gardener as well. Okay, he made some beautiful gardens. Now the rest of the acts of Solomon, first and last, are they not written in the book of Nathan the prophet, in the prophecy of Ahijah the Shilonite, in the visions of Iddo the seer, and concerning Jeroboam the son of Nebat? Solomon reigned in Jerusalem over all Israel 40 years. Then Solomon rested with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father. And Rehoboam his son reigned in his place. Okay, so next we're going to read Rehoboam succeeds Solomon. So we're going to see what kind of king his son is. Is his son going to be a fantastic king like his daddy? Or is he going to turn a different way and not be as great? So, we're going to see. And, even in the countries today. Rulers. Are they godly? If they're godly, they're going to rule a lot better than somebody who's ungodly. It just is. And that's all the kingdoms of the earth. Definitely true in this. So, anyway, thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and peace.